Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Yes. It's the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. We back. Santoki has returned from his tour around the Caribbean. He went everywhere. Windwards, Leewards, Dutch Antilles. I don't know. Where did he go, Santoki?
Everywhere. I was trying to get a spot in a regional team somewhere. So it took me to island upon island. Unfortunately, I've had to return empty-handed, but it's all good. We back. PCR tests all done. Safely back in the UK, ready to talk some cricket with Michelle. And we're here. End of year special. End of year award ceremony. Dishing out cusses, dishing out praise. It's all going to kick off, Mash. But firstly, as well, hope everyone had a good Christmas. Thank you all for tuning in, and we look forward to a good 2022 as well.
100%. And actually, Santoki, it's only right that everybody we always get on the podcast, we always end the podcast with what's your favorite island to play cricket in? But literally, you saw what you were in. You touched St. Lucia, you touched Grenada.
Yeah,
you touched
St. Lucia, Grenada, and then the Dutch islands as well.
And you had to pass through Barbados.
I had to fly to Barbados. So I briefly passed through the airport. I didn't want to get cussed out by the Bayesian cricket man, innit? So I quickly ducked out of Barbados. But yeah, I was there. All very nice.
Wait, hold on. Contact says, did you get any Morby in you before you were?
Yeah. So I went. I went to St. Lucia. I got Morby. Biggest mock of my life. The woman was like, "You must be Trini then."
I didn't even realize I had it in St. Lucia, you know?
Yeah, it's big, man. It's everywhere, Morby Fizz and all that. So
it must just be Jamaica then that doesn't. Honestly, until you mentioned it to me, I'd never heard that thing.
It must be. West Jamaica's on the east, of the east of the Caribbean, isn't it? So it's all the west. So it's like St. Lucia, Barbados, Trinidad, Guyana have it basically.
Yeah. So which island? Which one did you enjoy the most? So I guess you only in some of them briefly.
Yeah, briefly, I just touched down. So it's probably St. Lucia. Looked like the most interesting with volcanoes and stuff. I did pass through Grenada Cricket Stadium. Rock up. That stadium, rock up. I don't know what these Grenadians are doing out there. I don't know how they're going to play the test there in March. But yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, no, look forward to going back to the Caribbean and probably checking out some cricket there for once, I guess. Yeah,
for real. But as Santoki says, Sachin saying Morby's also big in Guyana as well. As Santoki says, though, we're here to just do the quick award show for 2021. We always were planning to do it on the 30th, and you lot know how it goes. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, so the chance of us even being able to set any time aside to do it slim to none. So we thought we'd just drop it on you quick. The quick one. Thank you to everybody who voted. Gave us your nominees for the different awards. By all means, feel free to interact and shout out as we're doing it, etc. Who you would have had in your categories, and we'll put the best answers up as ever. But for those who've been watching any videos recently, let me try and get through the admin as well. Remember, follow us at Twitter, Instagram at Carib Cricket. If you're watching now, click the bell for notifications whenever anything drops on our YouTube page. You can support us at Patreon, www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket for as little as $2, whatever your currency is a month, £2, £2, $2, whatever that might be. 1 day left of 2021. Keep supporting in 2022. Pass this on to anybody, whether you're in the Caribbean or not in the Caribbean, who you know would benefit from listening to Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Because remember, England are coming, and Ireland obviously first. Big stuff ahead. World Cup under-19s, World Cup women's, lots of stuff going on. But let's get into it, Santoki.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it. The first category, or award, I should say, of 2021 was for the men's test batter of the year. The men's test batter of the year. And what I'm going to do, Santoki, is I think the way we're going to do this is I'm going to just throw to you the different names I heard, and then just see if you've got anyone. First things first, though, somebody nominated Joe Root, and I was like, what? Listen, this is West Indies only. We can only dream of having someone like Joe Root in our team. But West Indies nominees only, and Santoki, from all the various people who nominated, only 3 names came up again and again and again.
Yeah.
Nkrumah Bonner, Jermaine Blackwood, Craig Brathwaite. There were no other nominees for anybody else. Before you come into Santoki, big up Mr. Lover for the super chat donation. Love that. Thank you. That's another way to support, by the way, people. You don't actually have to do Patreon. Love that, Mr. Lover. Lots of time for that. They call me Mr. Lover. Call me Mr. Bombastic.
The rum is flowing. The rum is flowing. It's end of the year. We out here.
What are you saying, Santoki? Your test batter of 2021.
Yeah, so for me, well, just breaking it down, the 3 top run scorers for the test for West Indies in 2021. Craig Brathwaite, 675 runs. Carl Mayers, 636 runs. Although that you feel that was inflated by his obviously double century in Bangladesh, which is probably why he didn't get a nomination. Then Bonner, 577. He played less matches, but his average was over 40. And just the context of, obviously, Brathwaite's an established batsman. We expect him to perform as captain. Bonner coming in for his debut year in Test cricket, adjusting like this, hitting an average of over 40 for West Indies in their current state is borderline miracle. So for me, just for the consistency and the assurances which he showed throughout the side, throughout 2021, it has to go to Bonner. The only thing that's a shame is he's obviously 32, 33, so he hasn't got long left realistically to play Test cricket. So we hope he can make the most of it in West Indies colours.
Yeah, I've got to go with you. I was surprised at how many nominations? It was only one, in fairness. There was one nomination for Dads, Jermaine Blackwood. So I was surprised that was thrown in there. For me, it has to go to Brathwaite or Bonner. But as you said as well, the only thing I would add to what you said about Bonner is the amount of balls he faced as well. Obviously, Craig faced the most, but we would expect that he's our most established Test batsman. But Bonner, out of everybody who batted for the West Indies this year, Bonner faced the second most amount of balls, having played one less game than a lot of the top order batsmen. He faced 1,623 balls, 100 350s. Craig 100 450s. And to be honest, Santoki, we got to be serious as well. In a time when we can barely find batsmen who average over 35, Bonner averaged over 40. That is unheard of. Like in recent times.
Yeah,
that's unheard of. and somehow that's kind of just gone under the radar that he's averaged over 40. We've been crying out for a batsman, and here is one averaging 40 a year, and no one's really talking about it as anything significant.
I think it's kind of what you said. He soaks up balls, and he sort of plays in a quiet way. He just gets on with the job, and he sort of, as you said, he hasn't really got the headlines. We always cuss out West Indies for not producing batters, but we have produced one batter this year who's averaged over 40, which is commendable. So yeah, it has to go to Bonner then.
Yeah, and finally, just on Craig. Craig has averaged 34 this year, and for those who are saying what you count as this year, literally the calendar year, Craig has averaged 34, and that's not to be sniffed at because, as England are showing, opening in Test cricket is not easy. And actually, Craig was on the verge of a drop last year. I was one of the people calling for him to hold a little drop to readjust to his game, and he's come back strong this year, possibly with the captaincy. Contact says about Bonner, because we lose so badly, people just wouldn't have noticed probably that we've had a batsman. And because Mayer's had the big 200, Bonner's not had that big epic innings per se. He got 100 against Sri Lanka, but he's just been there, just churning and soaking up balls, and no one notices anything like that. But the winner for where am I? Sorry. The winner for Test Batsman of the Year, overwhelmingly so. I should really say the percentages. Let me quickly work it out, Santoki. 2, 6, 8, 16, 20. With over 70% of the vote, the Test Batsman of the Year, Nkrumah Bonner. Congratulations
Congrats.
to Nkrumah Bonner. He could not be here today to give thanks, but Nkrumah Bonner, as voted for by West Indian fans, is our Test batsman of the year. I will be sure to send him this clip so he can big up himself. A Jamaican takes the first category of the year. Big up Jamaica. We ended the year on a high with an award.
You know what? Are we doing a bonus award? We got to do a bonus award. You know, for Scoop of 2021. Machelle, my colleague over here, Machelle, was the first person on the internet to break the news that Craig Brathwaite had become permanent West Indies captain. It was confirmed by BBC. It was an world exclusive scoop. And all I can say is Jason Holder must hate you. You cussed him out in the cricket at the end of last year, and then you announced his downfall by being the first person to declare Craig Brathwaite as the new permanent captain of West Indies cricket. But we salute Machelle as well for getting that scoop above anyone else in the whole world with regards to West Indies cricket captaincy.
Listen, it's all love with Jason, you know. I still maintain that article I wrote, that's that. Right, anyway, let's not listen. Jason, it's all love. It's all love, Jason. It's all love. You're happier within yourself now you're not captain anyway, so it's all love. Right, our next category. Men's Test Bowler of 2021. The nominees. Somebody voted for Shaheen Shah Afridi.
What's Stani Army doing, man?
The men's Test Bowler of the year came down to two people, Santoki. All the votes went to either Jayden Seales or Kemar Roach. They were the only two West Indians, obviously, to get voted for. Where do you stand on that, Santoki?
You know what?
Roach or Seales?
Obviously, Jayden Seales made a standout breakthrough, but he only played what, 4 tests last year? So he
4.
He only played 4 tests. Obviously, it was memorable performances, but I feel that that's slightly unjust towards Holder. Holder took 22 wickets. Rakeem Cornwall as well, when you consider how infrequent he was throughout the year. He took 21 wickets. Obviously, the Bangladesh performance was the standout. So I feel there should have been more respect for Cornwall, Holder, even Warrican to a degree. Obviously, probably not Test Bowler of the Year, but he's done well. But especially Holder. I think Holder went under the radar for his bowling performances. But for me, it's got to be, as much as I enjoyed Seales is more, it showed glimpses of his potential rather than actual performances. So I've got to go with Kemar Roach. Obviously, standout bowler for West Indies. Solidified it again in 2021. Stood up when it counted. Also produced with the bat as well against Pakistan. But yeah, it has to be Kemar Roach. Lived up to the pressure of being a senior bowler in this West Indies side.
If I'm looking at the chat, Coolio says Roach. Mr. Lover says Seales. Natalia says Roach. Renell says it should be Roach. Contact says Roach. So, I mean, even within the chat itself, the people are saying Roach.
All right, big up. Hold on, because I can't have too much Jamaica loving. Big up Veersamy Permaul as well. You know, 8 wickets in the one game. We blessed him with the one game in 2021. My man took 8 wickets. So big up Permaul as well. Yeah,
for real. Just in terms of Roach, if people are wondering where did his wickets come, so when we played South Africa in the South Africa series, he took 9 wickets. In fact, was it more than 9? Let me just double check that. I could have that wrong, you know. Yeah, 9 wickets versus South Africa. Pakistan, when we played them in Kingston, he took 5 against Pakistan. Sri Lanka, which everyone's forgotten about that series, the one which was on those like flat tracks, he took 9 wickets versus Sri Lanka. Bangladesh away, he took 1. I think he only played the one test, and obviously Sri Lanka away, he took none. But then that was obviously a spin paradise for the players there. The voting wise, I'm just going to go straight to it because I think ultimately you've summed it up, Santoki. But the voting wise was actually close. It was actually close. It was 45% versus 55. And the winner of the men's Test Bowler of the Year goes to Kemar Roach. Kemar Roach, 27 wickets. Where's the stats? Where the stats again? Oh, I've lost it. Have you got them in front of you, Santoki?
No. What for the wickets? How many wickets?
Yeah.
He got 27 wickets.
Yes, right. So 27 wickets for the year for Kimar Roach. So that's pretty overwhelming. But like we say, no one voted Holder, but Holder did have a good year as well.
I put up Sachin's comment as well. It represents the whole of Guyana's thoughts at the moment. Big up Pramul. He's going to be the number one bowler in 2022 if he doesn't get the snub. We wait to see the England selections in March.
It's going to be really interesting. It's going to really, really be interesting to see what happens. Our next category, straight to ODIs, the men's ODI batter of 2021. The men's ODI batter of 2021. Looking at the number, I'm not going to tell you who the people went for, but it was overwhelming, Santoki. Any thoughts on the men's ODI batter of the year?
Yeah, I think ODIs is a strange one for us. We only played 9 throughout the year, but we can't really count the ODIs in Bangladesh. That was like a C-D squad. So if you think about it, we only played the 3 versus Sri Lanka and 3 in Australia, and those were done by June. So we haven't played ODI cricket in 6 months. But overwhelmingly, obviously, there's only one player. Shout out to Evan Lewis. He'd be a close second. But Shai Hope averaged 62 throughout the ODIs he played, cemented his place as one of the world's leading batsmen in ODI format, and also added to the confusion as well of why he can't translate that, at least to T20 cricket. We've seen him struggle in Test cricket and T20 cricket, but ODI seems to be the perfect fit for him, and he's excelled. So long may that continue into 2022.
Santoki, only because we've got the stats in front of us, can you tell the people who was next after Hope and Evan Lewis?
Hold on, let me...
Have you got it in front of you?
I'm loading it up now, but based on your reaction,
no, because
Darren
Bravo, you know. And the only reason I'm saying that is because the way people talk about Darren Bravo, you must have thought he'd done nothing all year round. He's actually third. He's actually third on the list in terms of run getters in ODI cricket this year in those 6 matches. But
Rothman Powell came in, snuck into the top 5, you know, with a higher score of 47.
And he only played those. In fact, Rothman Powell could arguably say, when that Waste team went to Bangladesh, Rothman Powell could arguably say, how comes he didn't get a pick again after Bangladesh? Because he looked the most composed batsman in that ODI series for us. But it's overwhelming. Every single person who nominated or put a name forward voted for Shai Hope. So this one doesn't need any discussion. We all know that Shai Hope is actually world class in ODI cricket. The testing is still a myth, but nobody can say anything against him in ODI cricket. So congratulations to Shai Hope, ODI batsman of the year. I don't think Santoki mentioned his average. 5 matches, an average of 62, 100, 250s. It's pretty much as good as it gets. One of the few players who would walk into an ODI team of the year, like one of the teams of the years, if you're talking about a West Indian player. So that's cut and dry. Congratulations to Shai Hope, and everybody else in the chat. You've all mentioned Hope, so I think that's relatively straightforward. Men's ODI bowler of 2021. ODI bowler. Let me go to the nominations. So these are the nominations. There were 3 names mentioned in the nominations that were put forward. Alzari Joseph, Jason Holder, and Akil Hussain were the only names that were mentioned by people who wanted to nominate anyone. And Contact says he would go for Alzari or Akil. Mr. Lover saying Alzari. So it's not this one might not be as straightforward as Raku saying it's got to be Alzari or Akil. So lots of you are saying it's got to be one of those two. What are you saying, Santoki?
Boy, well, I think first shout out to obviously Jason Holder, Hayden Walsh Jr. He only played 3 ODIs, but he got a 5-wicket haul against Australia. Obviously, that's not enough to win the award, but it's worth a shout out. For me, this is a close one. Alzari and Akil, very similar. Let me just get up the stats. Akil Hussain took 14 wickets, economy 3.97. Alzari took 12, economy 4.32. For me, I think similar to Bonner, I'd have to go with Akil just because he sort of broke into the side. Did he play in the Bangladesh? He played in Bangladesh ODIs.
That's where he made his debut.
Yeah, he made his debut in Bangladesh, and he sort of adjusted to not only ODI cricket but T20 cricket. So for me, he sort of got on with the job very quietly, but he's been very effective, and he sort of ended the conundrum about who our leading spin bowler is in white ball cricket at the moment.
I feel It's got. Do you know what? I'm with you. It's got to be Akil because look what he's done all year round in general. But at a time when we're calling for a strike bowler in general, Alzari actually does his job and has consistently done his job in white ball ODI cricket. And I feel like even if we're going to give it to Akil, we got to really big Alzari up because he is actually, it's similar to Shea Hope in with the bat in ODI cricket. Alzari gets the job done in ODI cricket and he can't translate it to red ball cricket, which is baffling. It's completely baffling. But Alzari is as close to a lock-in for us in terms of actually being a strike bowler.
I think for me, the only difference would be reputation. If you told Alzari Joseph at the beginning of the year he would take 12 wickets in 9 matches, ODI level, based on what he's done previously, he'd probably be disappointed. Whereas Akil's obviously coming straight. So I think just based on reputations, I'd go for Akil Hussain. But also, shout out Jason Mohammed, man, third in that list as well. Took a steady 8 wickets across his 8 games, 1 per game. Managed to make the top 3, which kind of highlights just how the lack of quality we had in the format in terms of bowling, I think.
Yeah, I think if I go to the nominations, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Yeah, as much as, let me just see. Yeah, to be honest, as much as I'm saying there were 3 nominations, in fairness, over 60% of them went to Akil Hussain. So, ladies and gents, we're going to hand it to Akil, the men's ODI bowler of 2021. Very much a breakthrough year for Akil as well. Remember, this is only this year that Akil has turned up in the Maroons. So, big up Akil Hussain. We're giving it to him. He's the men's ODI bowler of 2021. Moving straight over.
Oh my days, this is going to be fun. Hope everyone's got the popcorn ready for this.
Boy. Boy. The men's 2020 batter of this year. The men's 2020 batter.
You know what?
Obviously,
this is such a madness. This is such a madness. I'm going to have to pull up the stats because through all this madness, somehow Pooran played 25 T20 internationals throughout the year. How many games did we play this year? Honestly, like I'm gonna have to pull up the stats because it's.
Do you know what? Yeah, because wait a minute. So we played 5 at the World Cup. We played 9 in the summer.
Yeah.
Where the hell did the other?
Where did he play 25 from?
Well, we had those. Did we play 5 against Sri Lanka? 3.
We played. So we played 3 against Sri Lanka.
That's 17. Who else did we play? Did we play Bangladesh? No, we didn't play Bangladesh in T20s. Oh no, we just played Pakistan.
Pakistan, yeah.
So 20, that's 20 in terms of Pakistan.
You know what's mad? You know who made this? You know Chris Gale made the second most appearances, 21. Listen,
I don't know. Do you know what? No, I'm gonna look. I have to know who we actually played this year. Okay, so we played 3 versus Sri Lanka, 5 versus South Africa. 5 versus South Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know why it's counting? Do you know why it's counting 25? Because they're counting the 5 versus Pakistan, even though nothing happened.
They can't know because they wouldn't.
I don't know why they. No, because remember, 2 of those Pakistan games started. They might not finish.
Oh, yeah, okay,
so,
that makes sense.
So so it's 3 Sri Lanka, 5 South Africa, 5 Australia, 4 Pakistan. Although I don't know why they're counting those. The 5 in the World Cup, and then 3 Pakistan. I didn't even realize we played that much T20s this year, you know. But yeah. So sorry. Before we get into it, sorry. So the nominations were between. There were not okay. So there were nominations for Shimron Hetmeyer, Pooran, Pollard, and Evan Lewis. Those were the 4 people nominated. Yeah, those are 4 people nominated across the piece. Who are you saying?
Well, for me, obviously, it's a disappointing year in T20s. Obviously, Pooran played a lot of T20, so his stats have kind of been padded up by the amount he's played. But for me, just in terms of the class he showed and his performances as well in a struggling team, it's got to be Evan Lewis. 489 runs. He played 18 games, averaged 28.76, which isn't bad, but his strike rate was the main thing, 155. He kept that going. He showed essentially a lot of the West Indian players came into 2021 with big reputations. He essentially still lived up to that reputation. So for me, it's not even close. It has to be Evan Lewis.
Yeah.
Don't say no, man. Please don't say
no. But you know who I want to say, who I think has gone under the radar? Fabian Allen.
Okay.
Because Fabian actually did his job. If you think back to those Sri Lanka games, do you remember that Sri Lanka game where Holder batted out the maiden and then Fabian just won it? Like bashed like 20 odd off 4 balls, whatever it was that he did in that Sri Lanka game. In terms of fulfilling his role as a finisher, I actually think Fabian was properly coming into his own this year and was as close to a lock on being able to do a madness at the end of an innings in any given situation. And losing Fabian for the World Cup, that a lot wasn't said about that at the time, but that was actually massive.
Yeah,
along with Obed McCoy, that was massive losing Fabian Allen for the World Cup. So when you look at Fabian's stats for the year, he only played 12 times. But if you look, Fabian's strike rate 164, second best average in the team. No, technically Holders is better than him, but that 164 strike rate in a finisher's role is as close to what you want. So you're right. It's obviously Evan Lewis. Yeah. Evan Lewis is basically the new Chris Gale in terms of his role within the West Indies team. But I want to do a quick shout out to Fabian. Nobody voted for him, but I do think Fabian deserves a quick shout out.
Yeah, agreed. And obviously Brandon King with a late surge in the Pakistan series. So it'll be interesting to see how he sort of stacks up with Evan Lewis going into 2022 as an opening partnership.
Yeah, so if that's not, sorry, I'll quickly answer this. Contacts. So Fabian is currently, go to his Instagram. Fabian is doing a lot of fitness work at the moment. I think probably Ireland is going to be too soon for him, but I'd imagine he's going to be, will he be back for England? Who knows? But he's definitely holding a bat and smashing the ball and this, that, and the other. But I don't know if Ireland and that one game will come too soon. Remember, Fabian's also in our ODI side as well. And McCoy's just picked up the Bangladesh Premier League bag. So he's going to Bangladesh to play T20, so he must be fit. But anyways, yeah, so if that's not clear, people, the winner of the men's T20 Batter of 2021, Evan Lewis, that's fairly straightforward. And in fairness, in terms of the votes, again, over 60% of the votes went to Evan Lewis, so that's pretty clear. The men's T20 bowler of 2021.
Oh my God.
Again, the nominees, quite a spread here. Akil Hussain, Dwayne Bravo, Hayden Walsh Jr., and Obed McCoy. So there were four general nominations put through by people for the T20 bowler of 2021. Any views, Santoso?
Yeah, well, I think similar to what you said about Allen, I think Akil Hussain, the stats obviously don't reflect his role in the side. Obviously, in T20s, he was sort of there to keep the economy down, to keep the runs down, rather than taking wickets as a strike spinner. So Akil Hussain obviously stood out in the World Cup, had some excellent performances there. So he's one. DJ Bravo, surprisingly, so we only had 2 bowlers in this West Indies side this year who bowled over 40 overs throughout the year. Andre Russell and DJ Bravo. And that sort of sums up our side throughout 2021. We were relying on them a lot. DJ Bravo took the most wickets. He took 19 wickets, but he played 20 games. For me, the standout bowler has to be Obed McCoy. He only played 11 games, unfortunately, because of injury, 18 wickets, an average of 15. But when he did play, he looked like a leading bowler. He looked like a strike bowler who opposition batsmen was scared of. So for me, his performances will stand out. Obviously, shout out to DJ Bravo. He did what was expected of him, what we know he can do. But for me, Obed McCoy was more of a standout in the games that he did play, the impact he had.
Yeah, I've kind of got to agree with you there. Bravo shut a lot of people up. I think people forget that when Bravo came back into the side, he got cussed out like Gale got cussed out. But Bravo shut everybody up with his performances, whereas Gale didn't ultimately. And if, in fact, if Bravo hadn't retired and said, I'm coming again for 2022, I don't think anyone would have complained. Because I think they would have accepted, you know what, we need his experience. He's still clearly the best death bowler in the region. He's mentoring the younger players. That shows you the impact of DJ Bravo that I don't think anyone would have cared if he'd said that he was going to continue for one more year. But if we're talking about the future, you're right to say McCoy. And again, like I just said for Fabian, Obed was a huge miss in that World Cup. We basically lost. If you think about that, you remember, if you think back to the summer T20 Santoki, it was always McCoy and Bravo who were rescuing us in the back end of innings and bringing it back. And I think it was a big loss when we lost Obed before the World Cup or in the warm up or whatever it is that happened to him. So if we're looking to the future, I think we have to give it to Obed over Bravo. Mr. Lover says, "Thank God no one mentioned O'Shea."
You know what's also mad? Obviously, off air, me and Michelle are always privately mentioning about how relentless the cricket scheduling is. Looking at this list, I can't even believe that Fidel Edwards and Kevin Sinclair at one point played 6 matches for us, man. Like, it seems like so long ago, but beginning of the year, we went with Fidel Edwards and Kevin Sinclair was a spin option. Those didn't work out, but we've tried so many different bowlers throughout the year. We sort of still, other than Obed McCoy and Akil Hussain, we sort of don't have a defined bowling lineup ready, who you could say would definitely go to Australia. So 2022, there's a lot to work out.
Yeah, and actually, again, I'm going to say his name again. Even Fabian Allen, if you look at his stats for the bowling this year, right? He played 12 matches, bowled 35 overs, 8 wickets at an economy of 6.74. Fabian had the best economy of our frontline bowlers this year. And that's a good sample size. It's not like his 2 matches, 12 matches, 6.74. I don't think people fully understand how much Fabian was a miss in the field, with the ball, with the bat. You cannot overstate enough how much Fabian, in all 3 facets of the game, losing him was massive. So we're not giving him the batsman of the year or the bowler, but Fabian has to get a shout out. Again, but we are going to give the men's T20 bowler of the year to Obed McCoy for, again, the breakthrough year off injury. Yes, big up Static in the house, you know. I ain't seen Static in his back. Last time I saw Static was online this morning. He's doing one of them fantasy IPL things. I saw your team, Static. It's looking a bit light right now. You need to work on that team because everyone else is getting all the gun players, but I'm sure you got it under control.
Also, one last thing about the bowling. Someone needs to remind me, why did Lendl Simmons bowl 1 over? What led to the situation when Lendl Simmons bowling 1 over? If you remember in the comments, just give me a reminder because I need to understand why we bowled Lendl Simmons.
I don't know when that happened. I actually don't remember that.
He bowled 1.1 overs in 2021.
This is a good point, though, Santoki. Seals. Yeah. Obviously, we've seen what he's just done in Sri Lanka, was in the team of the tournament for that Lanka Premier League. I'm expecting him to be in our T20 side next year, Santoki. And yes, he may well end up being better than both O'Shea and Alzari and whatnot. But, boy, Santoki, by the end of 2022, when we do this again and he wins whatever he wins, we may never see him again, though, beyond the white ball format. So I recognize a moment to think is right. Seals is obviously now going to come into our 2020 team, you would think. Where's your view on that, Santoki?
Yeah, I think Seals has the potential to be our best T20 bowler. Lanka Premier League, considering it was his first, outside of CPL, it was his first overseas sort of franchise tournament. We saw how destructive he was with the ball, wicket taking. How many wickets did he even get? Like 15 or something? Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
So, boy, I mean, it's touch and go whether he gets an IPL deal. It might be too soon for him, but definitely 2023 he'll have an IPL deal and numerous franchise deals around the world. So, like you said, as you said throughout the whole year, Michelle, we need to make the most of when we do see him in the whites playing red ball cricket, because my gut feeling is we won't be seeing him long term in the format.
Static, by the way, obviously because you're in here, do you think an IPL team will pick up Seals this year on any kind of supplementary deal, or do you think it's too soon for him to get that IPL bag? Let us know. But moving on, we can't forget West Indies women. Lots of you know that we've got Courtney coming on to do a podcast recording. We'll talk about West Indies women with him, but it's important that we cover the women. So the women's batter of 2021, the nominees that were thrown forward to me were the big three: Stefanie Taylor, Hayley Matthews, and Deandra Dottin. Those were the votes that were sent forward. I feel like whenever you talk about West Indies women, those are always going to be the three names that are sent forward. You've been crunching the stats, Santoki. Who stood out?
Boy, let me just get the runs up for what we doing. ODIs?
ODIs, sorry. Yeah. In fact, I've got them in front of me. So I'll read them whilst you analyze. But the top three for the year were Deandra Dottin, Hayley Matthews, and Stefanie Taylor. Now, Deandra and Hayley played 14 matches. Stefanie only played 8. Remember, she pulled out, I think, of one of those. I think it was the South Africa series. She was injured or there was a personal circumstance. Deandra averaged 38. Remember, this was also Deandra's comeback year from injury. So Deandra averaged 38. Hayley averaged 29. Stefanie, in her 8 games, averaged 87. 87. Stefanie got 200s. Hayley got 100 and 150. And Deandra got 100 and 250s. Now, Deandra was top in terms of runs scored. So Deandra got 460 runs, but Stefanie got 347 in 8 games. It's obvious why everyone's gone for those 3, but any views on where you'd go with that, Santoki?
Yes, obviously Deandra had a great year, but as you said, Stefanie's numbers are crazy. 8 games, averaging nearly 87. Hayley Matthews as well. Shout out Hayley Matthews because she put up the runs and she also took wickets. I think she was the second highest wicket taker. Well, but obviously, purely judging this on batter, I would probably have to give it to Stefanie just because that's incredible numbers, and it was obviously cut short her year. But what she did play was incredible. But it's close between all 3 pretty much. But I'd edge it to Stefanie.
Yeah, and I'm inclined to agree with you. If I go with the votes, though, and this is now the first one where we have to, who's deciding, us or the people?
So we're getting a lot of comments. We're getting a lot of comments saying Hayley Matthews because she was nominated in the ICC category. But that's, again, judging her based on her all-round performances, which I think if you're judging it based on all-round performances, it would be Hayley Matthews. But if we're purely looking at batting, in the women's game, I would give it to Stefanie.
Now, the people who voted, it was Deandra Dottin that won. But I'm giving it to Stefanie because it's ridiculous what Stefanie's done. 8 matches averaging 87 and like nearly topping the run charts despite everyone else playing nearly double the amount of games of her. So I think it should be Stefanie, but the people went for Deandra Dottin. Santoki, choose. Do you have to say Stefanie?
Yeah, Stefanie, man. It's got to be
We're giving it to Stefanie. We're giving it to Stefanie. We're saying the women's batter of 2021, Stefanie Taylor. And by the way, I know that this year we were supposed to have a podcast with Stefanie. We haven't forgotten. We are going to still work on that. We plan to have that ready for next year. So that's not gone. That's not disappeared. It weren't even 80. It was 87. She averaged 87 with the bat in ODI cricket. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. So yes, Stefanie Taylor is who we're giving that to. And then the women's bowler of 2021. I've got the stats, Santoki. I don't know if you have.
Oh yeah, I got it up. So we had Anisa.
Just to say who got the people who were voted for: Anisa Mohammed, Hayley Matthews, Stefanie Taylor were the people who got the votes, and I think there might have been one more person. Let me just see if there was one more. Yeah, and Shamila Connell as well got of some votes as well.
It's another close one. Like you said, Hayley Matthews, exceptional year all round. So obviously 18 wickets. Also big up Shakira Selman as well. She was 3rd wicket taker, and she was also done a fantastic job as a commentator for like the Super 50 and stuff. So big up her as well. But for me, it's got to be the veteran. She's been playing for as long as I can remember watching cricket, Anisha Mohammed. 20 wickets in 12 games, average of 18, economy 3.61. For me, she's got to take it for me in terms of bowling performances. And just looking, she made her debut in 2003, 18 years in the game. So
yeah, for real, I hadn't thought about that as well.
Lived up to those performances. So for me, I think Anisha edges it.
Now, the joke is this. In terms of what the people said, it was a tie between Anisha Mohammed and Hayley Matthews. Now, Hayley Matthews has got that ICC nomination for a reason. So I feel like, I know you're saying it's got to go to Mohammed. And I think you're right, Santoki. It's got to be because of what Hayley's done all round, surely. Yeah. I feel like this was Hayley's, I'm about to say Hayley's breakout year. Obviously, Hayley did what she did when she was 18. But I feel like this is the first year since Hayley came on the scene and everyone started paying attention, where she's been like, no, I'm back. I'm actually back and I'm about this life again. So I feel like we do have to shout Hayley Matthews out. I mean, 18 wickets, average of 22, economy of 3.3. What are the people in the chat saying? Hayley or Anisha? It's one of them. Sachin says it's got to be Anisha. She's been the best bowler this year. Mr. Lover says it's Mohammed and Matthews. Contact says everyone's saying Anisha, you know. Well, I feel bad if we go. I feel bad for Hayley if we give her no award. Boy, the people in the chat are saying it's got to be Anisha Mohammed, so that's what we're gonna have to do. Women's bowler. If we were doing an all-rounder category, then obviously Hayley would win that. But women's bowler of 2021, we are giving that to Anisha Mohammed. And as Santoki says, so many years deep in the game. So big up Anisha, women's bowler of 2021. People, our last three categories for the Caribbean Cricket Podcast Awards of 2021. The moment of 2021. The moment. People, I had Santoki, listen to this. Nothing came in for the moment of 2021. And this is actually difficult. This one's majorly difficult. Nothing examples. Here we go. Let me read them out.
Go.
You might even want to jot some of them down. So all the different answers I got. The Sabina Park win in terms of Steels and Roach. The 2 tests in general against Bangladesh. Chasing 395 against Bangladesh in the first test. Kyle Mayer's 200 not out. Mayer's 200 not out. The 4-1 T20 win versus Australia, series win, sorry. The West Indies Bangladesh entire test series. Mayer's 200 not out. Mayer's 200 not out. Roach and Seals last wicket partnership to win us the test versus Pakistan. The Bangladesh run chase and series win. Mayer's 200 not out. The Bangladesh test series in general. The Bangladesh, chasing 395, highest successful run chase in Asia in general. The Bangladesh test series win. Jimbo's catch to seal the Bangladesh series win. Do you remember that, Santoki? That tumbling catch. The fact. Sorry, I haven't finished. The fact it was the highest successful run chase in Asia ever, and then the last one saying Mayer's 200 not out. So it's not as clear cut.
You lot need to remember Pollard hit 6 sixes in over.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, bro. Come on.
I forgot about that, you know. What's the Seals? Seal didn't hear Mr. Lover says Shield shattering the record for the youngest to get a fiver. That was in there as well. You lot did, Santoki's got a point here. There's nothing that have happened.
Gail retiring, Bravo retiring. There was enough moments.
Bravo and Gail embracing each other last ball of the World Cup. Boy, there's nothing there, you know.
Yeah.
Contact says 6 sixes and we still nearly lost today. Enough stuff happened this year. I actually don't even know how many times has 6 sixes happened? Is it like 4 times in history or something?
4 times.
Ugraj, Herschel, Gibbs, and maybe I think it might even be 3. I think Pollard was just the 3rd one.
Oh,
boy, bowled out for 55. You know, that was a moment still.
Oh, that was.
Boy, what's the moment?
You know what? For me, it has to be obviously 6 sixes comes close. What else did we have? The run chase against Pakistan, Roach and Seals, partly because of the crowd and just everything around it. But if you're looking at the Bangladesh series, the first test, the chase in the 4th innings, like when you think about test cricket having a longer lasting impact, to do it in the test format, break the records, the context of the squad being depleted, everything going on, Mayer's hitting a double century on debut, it all added up. That's probably the greatest moment for West Indies cricket in probably the last 5 years since the World Cup win.
Yeah, I think it feels like it's not the moment because it happened right at the start of 2021. But when you consider the historical this team the team that we never see in general, when we say this team, I mean West Indies in general, never do well, generally speaking, in Test cricket, pulled off the highest run chase in Asia. With a team that wasn't even a full strength side, with a man hitting 200 on debut. Do you know how nuts that is?
It's mad. Like, you can't write it.
How nuts that actually is. Yeah, it's got to be that. Don't get me wrong. I think that Roach and Seals winning that Test match versus Pakistan was epic. Yeah, but it has to be. It's got to be. We got to give it to that Santoki. We got to give the context of everything that was going on. Yeah, we're going to call it the moment of 2021. West Indies series win in Bangladesh, but more specifically the 395 chase with Mayers hitting the double ton. That has to be the moment right at the start of the year, but it's got to be the moment for West Indies of 2021 because it was history. It was nobody gave them a chance. Absolutely nobody gave them a chance. So yeah, we'll call that our moment of 2021. Shining star of 2021. Now, you would think, Santoki, this one's straightforward, but just to let you know, there were 3 nominations that came through, 3 names that came through. Akil Hussain, Jaden Seals, Obed McCoy. Those are the 3 names. Nobody said Bonner, actually, and I'm surprised no one said Bonner. But again, nobody cares about somebody just churning out runs and facing lots of balls. But those are the 3 names given for Shining Star of 2021.
Yeah, I think firstly, shout out Bonner, also Josh De Silva. I think Josh De Silva's done well behind the wickets and also put in some good batting performances, again, soaking up the balls. But in terms of shining star, it's got to be Jaden Seals. Just the impact he's made coming into the Test arena, youngest ever to get a 5-wicket haul, and just the glimpses of talent we've seen. He's definitely someone who we're going to say is going to be a long-term star for West Indies. So for me, it's got to be Jaden Seals. Who else was nominated? Obed McCoy as well is there, but I think Seals just edges it for me.
Yeah, I do want to shout out Akil because I go back to what you said earlier on in the broadcast, Santoki. Akil is as close to a consistent spinner as we have had in a long, probably since Narayan and Badri. In terms of, but Akil's done it across both ODI and T20, and just he's as close to, like, we both know that when Akil bowls, no one's taking him down for licks.
Yeah,
and that we say that as if it's just something to take for granted. That nobody's taking him down for licks. So big up Akil for his breakthrough year. Big up Bonner for his breakthrough year. Obed was nearly injury free for the year, but you're right. In terms of excitement, everybody in West Indies cricket is excited about Jaden Seals and how long we get to see him in the maroon. Basically, everybody in West Indies cricket probably wants Jaden Seals in every single format of the game next year. So that probably is testament to the fact of how much of a shining star he was. So shining star of 2021, people, I think we have to. It's got to be clear. It's Jaden Seals.
Well,
and
I think the Wi-Fi must have been down in Guyana over Christmas because Moti didn't get no votes, you know.
But we come to good point actually from Static. Seals, because it's also his first year in professional cricket. I'm thinking like this man played enough professional cricket or something. Sorry. We have to remember this is also just his first year properly, really. Remember, man played 1 first-class game and jumped straight into the Test team and seamlessly transitioned into it. Yes, shining star 2021. Big up Jaden Seals. And we come to the most keenly. Listen, when I tell you, Santoki, about the different answers I got for Catfish. So for those who don't understand Catfish, by the way, in terms of what the category means, Catfish is basically, for want of a better explanation in English vernacular, would be somebody or something that flatters to deceive. Catfish in the dating context would be going on a date with someone whose profile picture is not the person you actually meet on the date. Have you ever been catfished before, Santoki?
Just no comment, but let's move on.
So catfish. So the catfish of 2021. So the nominees that I got for catfish were boys, Santoki. So this list is so long. Let me find it. Where is it? I need to find another way to read this because there were so many answers. I can't even See if I do it this way. Questions. I can't even read it that way, Oh, here we go. Bear with me one sec. Catfish. Here we go. So Catfish. Ruston Chase. Chris Gale. Oh my god. So I'm reading some of these for the first time. Someone's put Ruston Chase and Hope getting recalled to the test squad. Oh my god. The whole T20 World Cup team. The T20, yeah, someone else has said the T20 squad as a whole. Roddy Eswick, for being considered the father figure by Barbados players, but then doing nothing to help our young quick bowlers. The T20 World Cup team, Shafane Rutherford. This one's controversial. Carl Mayers. Someone says that he's a catfish. Someone's put Bonner as a catfish. I'd love to know why Bonner's a catfish. I don't know. I'm not sure why Bonner got called a catfish. And also, one other. Lendl Simmons. And someone's put Lendl Simmons, and then someone's put Lendl Simmons innings as against South Africa as the ultimate catfish. Boy, lots of answers in there. Who's a catfish?
My one wasn't even on the list. I was going with Uncle Ravi Rampal, as my catfish of the year, because my man Ravi Rampal, he seduced the West Indies fans throughout 2021 with the Super 50 performances, CPL leading wicket taker. We're like, okay, now we're cooking. Rampal's going to take us to glory. World Cup came, struggled. He just struggled out there on the pitches, wasn't performing much. So for me, in terms of flattering to deceive, I'd say it was Rampal. Just in terms of what we expected from him, what he showed in the domestic scene, and then coming back into West Indies, how different that reality was from the appearances we'd seen earlier in the year.
Do you know what I've got as my catfish?
Go on.
Dwayne Bravo's World Cup song. Fam, that song got me so hyped up, and I got totally catfished.
You know what it was? It was the confidence in that to make that song. Do you know how confident you have to be?
Sixes in the video when I got catfished, man.
Man, imagine making that song, talking about the licks you're gonna dish out, and then very next game you get all bowled out for 55.
Oh my god. The thing is, now I've said it, I feel like that's got to win. But I've got to go. I've got to go with what the people. I've got to go with what the people generally threw out. I mean, the most common answer I think is probably the right answer, which is probably I'm still laughing. Contact says that song and video needs to be removed off YouTube.
No, listen, that song actually was the biggest catfish. They put Narayan in the video, the man even played the World Cup.
Narayan got in the video. It's smashing.
Like, why is Narayan in the video, bro? That's got to be the biggest catfish. I think we should end the award now, bro. That's got to be the biggest catfish.
I think in general, Catfish of 2021, I think we've just got to say that it's just got to be everything. Everything about the T20 World Cup was an entire catfish. But the only reason I would say it shouldn't be that, though, is because, in fairness, if we go back to it, enough people are saying they thought we were going to flop, though. Yeah. So I don't know if the T20 World Cup counts as a catfish, because I do remember that people thought we weren't going to be very good. So maybe it's just the song, Santoki. Maybe we have to say the song is the catfish.
Yeah, the song is the catfish. The Narayan thing sealed it for me, because my man didn't even make the World Cup squad. He's in the video.
Let's give it to that. So, ladies and gents, for all of those who are watching, the catfish of 2021 is Dwayne Bravo's. What was the song even called? I can't even remember. Was it World Champions?
Yeah, it was called Champion, man.
No, it couldn't have been. No, hold on one second.
Let me just Google it.
DJ Bravo. World Cup song. What was that song called? World Champions. It was even called World Champions. Come on, Santoki. That's
Man
got to be the guy. Imagine that's a dating app and you click on the app and it says World Champions. And then the next thing you see is the team getting bowled out for 55. Ladies and gents.
Man said it's only licks when we touch down, and they touch down for 55, you know.
Ladies and gents, the catfish of 2021 is Dwayne Bravo's World Champions music video. That is the catfish of 2021. And that is actually all the awards. That is all the awards for this year's Caribbean Cricket Podcast 2021 awards. Just want to say big up both of us, big friends of Simon Preston. Anybody who if you're a Jamaican and you're watching this, make sure you go watch Reggae Boys commentary. Anything you need to know about Jamaican football, Simon Preston is your guy. Make sure you go and watch this. And Simon, actually, if you're still watching live, we want you to do an equivalent of this, obviously, on Reggae Boys commentary as well. We need to hear about these awards, you know. But big up everyone who's joined in live for the show, the Caribbean Cricket Podcast 2021 awards. Make sure you share this with people. You know how we do. It's serious and it's also a bit of a laugh and a joke as well. But as well, share it with the people. We are going to be interviewing Cuddy about the West Indies women's team. So look out for the drop on that, probably at the start of 2022. Now, whenever you're watching this, have a good New Year's Eve celebrations, whichever country you're in. Stay blessed, bless it up with your people, bring the year in right, and let's look forward to a really good 2022. Santoki, any last words?
Yeah, no, just everyone have a good new year. Obviously, we've had some good guests on 2021. 2022, we're looking to build on that, so keep an eye out for content, and we'll see you there.
100% people. So that's us. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for joining us. Like I say, click on everything below, notifications, subscribe, this, that, and the other. But we've been the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. That's been the 2021 Caribbean Cricket Podcast Awards. Thank you and good night.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rules.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.